Hello and welcome to Behind the Screen. We got a little bit of a late start this morning, but things are all right in the iconic production studio. We're in the middle of doing a remodel, and so I'm glad to be able to be coming to you today from I'd say about 70% revamped iconic production studio. And this is a show where we hang out and we talk about games, board games, card games, role-playing games, miniature games, things that are beautiful and things that bring joy to our lives. And good morning to DM James, to John Doom. Big thanks to John Doom for stepping in for me on Friday's game of our blind playtest of the Han Cluster. I greatly appreciate that, my friend. And I think Tink is around here somewhere. So, today we're talking about tropes. Now, we've hit a point in culture where tropes are considered a bad thing. They are often derided on Reddit and X. They are often mocked. People are saying, can't you come up with anything original? Why are you using the, quote, tired old trope of X, Y, or Z? Usually things like The Chosen One, or Good Will Triumph, or Law versus Chaos. All of these things. I did mean Twitter, John Doom. I'll say Twitter till the day, because I tweet at somebody still. I don't X at them. But let's be honest, I don't even do that. So, there is this idea that tropes are the crutch of a uncreative or weak GM. And I would say to that, that's BS. Tropes are mythic shorthand. They work in the same way that myths used to work. Padre, good to see you. Yes, tropes are myth. When we talk about Sisyphus, I can say to you, this is a Sisyphusian task. And assuming you are classically trained, you understand that I mean this is an utterly futile task. Going back to the idea that Sisyphus angered the gods, for his pride was forced to push a rock up a hill only to have it roll down over and over again. An utterly futile task. And yes, I'm not talking about the famous philosopher who said that Sisyphus probably ended up finding joy in his existence. I mean this in the older term. When we talk about Thor's hammer Mjolnir, that was shorthand for thunder. Thor meant thunder and lightning. Helios meant the sun. So when I told you stories about Helios, you knew that I was actually telling you stories about the sun. Mythic shorthand was a way that we communicated deep ideas in very quick ways. It's the same way of metaphors or similes. The fact that if you read the Iliad, Homer is constantly juxtaposing beasts of prey with beasts of slaughter. A main character may quickly go from a wolf or a lion to a sheep, telling you that this person has gone from the aggressor or the killer to the transgressed or the slain. John Doom, you used to go to a school when you said it with a kid called Sissy Face. That reminds me of the Seinfeld episode with the guy's name Deuteronomy. He's like, it's a crap name. Because kids were always like, is there doo-doo on a you? No, there's doo-doo on a me. So these mythic shorthands allowed us to convey deep and more expansive ideas in a shorter amount of time and in a shorter communication span. I think back to when Obama was president, and he had something in his speech where he spoke about the least of these. And his speechwriter is like, I would take that out because you don't reference the least of these anywhere else. And this person was clearly unfamiliar with Western canon and did not understand Obama's mythic shorthand for talking about the poor, the vulnerable, the meek, the children in our country. Yes, Padre, tropes and myths are like acronyms. And so we don't have Homer anymore. We don't have myths. We have tvtropes.com. We have the idea of the chosen one. We have the idea of good versus evil. We have these things that come up in our fantasy games. Chromatic dragons are generally evil. Metallic dragons are generally good. A paladin should be of lawful alignment and character. The good guys wear white hats. The bad guys wear black hats. We go deep into the fairy tale. A person's inner self is reflected in their physical appearance. And I'm not saying that all tropes are good or that all tropes are bad. What I'm saying is tropes are myths, and myths tell us a story. They tell us something true about ourselves as humans, as individuals, as a culture, in broad generalizations. And that's the thing to keep in mind. So if someone comes and says, oh, save the world is such a boring old trope, first of all, if they are saying playing a mystical barista in Fantasyland is a better way to run an adventure, more power to them, but that is not why I sit down to roll dice and play Savage Worlds or Dungeons and Dragons. Don't let people, and when I say people, I hope I don't mean the people around your table. I mean people on the internet. When you post your ideas or talk about your games, if somebody says, oh, that's a tired old trope, screw them. Myths are as old as humanity. And you know what? I'm going to lean back on King Solomon, the wisest of us. There's nothing new under the sun. Everybody was like, oh, I'm coming up with this brand new thing. No, you're not. You're just hiding your tropes. You know what? Myths were never meant to be hidden. Myths were meant to be worn on our sleeves, worn on our hearts, seen in our eyes, spoken on our lips. Yes, as Gandalf said, John Doom, this too shall pass. Wait, no. That was Paul. Anyway. People on the internet exist in this Gnostic Ethereum of I get to comment on everything. And sometimes people are stupid on the internet. Sometimes people are angry. Sometimes people are mean. I really think that the episode of What We Do in the Shadows, where Colin Robinson went to confront the guy who was trolling him on the internet and found out that it was an actual troll living under a bridge, posting on Twitter, is perhaps the most accurate representation of most comments and interactions, at least in text form, on the internet. Don't pay attention to those peoples. When you're using tropes, you are leaning into the mythic underpinnings of our hobby and the reason why we game, right? Greg Stafford said, it activates a mythic experience for us and reminds us what it means to be human. So lean into it. Now, if you have some players like I've had at my table who are criticizing you for using tropes, especially in the game, uncool, man. Uncool. Like, these are supposed to be your friends, and as the game master, you are providing them a service, most likely free of charge. And so, just remind them that, hey, if they think they can do it better, then maybe they should take over the game. And 9 times out of 10, that shuts the person up. So, let's take a look at the chat. I'm still getting all of my new stuff set up. Let's see here. I respond with, your face is an old trope. Ooh, zing. Nice jam, James. I can't wait to play a game with you on Friday. Padre says, I've complained about children's books before because they will try and subvert the tropes, and then we don't tell the kids the stories originally. This is true. Tink apparently like Gnostic Ethereum. So they think the subversion is the original. I mean, that's my problem. Well, I'm going to open a can of worms. That's my problem with The Last Jedi as a movie. I love Rian Johnson as a director. Love Brick, Knives Out. I think he's a great noir director. I think he was so focused on trying to subvert everyone's expectations about Star Wars. He did two things. One, he forgot the point of a movie is to be fun and enjoyable. And two, he ended up subverting so hard that he subverted himself. And in the end, the mythological truth of Star Wars reasserted itself. I really pray, out of all of the modern trends that we've seen come alive in the last decade to 15 years, the two that I would love to see go away and die as quickly as possible are nostalgia baiting and the need to subvert. We could get rid of those two things. I think we would go back to a at least silver age of entertainment, if not possibly a golden age of entertainment. So that's it. That's our show. I figured the show on tropes should be as shorthand as a trope is. So that's it. We'll be back on Thursday, and I want to say thank you to Gutsy. I'm still working it out, but we're going to be talking about an article that Gutsy sent me about C.S. Lewis and Arthur C. Clarke and science fiction in gaming. So I look forward to sharing all of that with you. So, until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay gaming. Knights at the Dinner Table, that's exactly why the Acolyte failed. I think the idea of wanting to subvert a genre that is completely dedicated to the idea of good versus evil, light versus dark, and tell a good corruption story means A, you don't understand the franchise, and B, you don't understand any of the words in that sentence. So until next time, this is JM. This has been Behind the Screen. I will see you all on Thursday for another episode. Until then, have a good one.